Heaven, everyone. This is Tycoon Wibby for IST'Rep.cash, and today we'll be going over the IST'Cr workflow processes. Yes, and we'll begin by how to send an IST'Cr request. Yeah, and we will start by coming and clicking this button here for mobile, and if you're on desktop, it'll be the Heaven link. Yeah, because this is the Heaven dashboard. All the dashboards with IST'Rep and Postpeg are Heaven, the word Heaven. Yep, so we're in our Heaven dashboard here, and we're going to our ISTs, and you can see we have a button here for IST'Cr request, and we just go ahead and we press that IST'Cr request button. Yeah. And we come down here and we say we have this opted in IST. Yes, the IST has to be opted in, and we can press that and it'll lock to this reusable element down here. And you can see that we have some requests out, but we'll go ahead and we'll make a new request and we'll press that send request button there. And you can see that we have one IST'Cr here, and that is IST'Cr Drainisha. Yeah, and we click on that profile picture and it'll lock it to down here, and we'll see that IST'Cr Drainisha, though she's an active IST'Cr. And so we see here we have owner list tokens, and we have 850 free tokens, so we can do an IST'Cr request, let's say for 50 of these tokens, and we'll do it at 1%, 5%, or 10%. Let's go ahead and do it at 5%. And we see that it automatically does the calculation in there for us. The 5% of cap rate yield 2.16 USD as projected. IST'Cr commission, and the total capital to be raised is $43.20 USD. And we set up the cap raise as such, and we charge the IST owner one IST'Rep.cash charge in order to send this off to Drainisha, whether she approves or rejects it. Yeah. So if we agree with that, and as you can see, you can do it all the way up to the 850, and you see it pulls in the IST information from the TWT, and our STP for this particular IST is 86 cents. So each token costs 86 cents. And so we'll go on down here and we will press this button here to send off that request, right? And if we would like to do so again, we can see that we can do so again, but our owner list tokens have changed because we have already sent off that IST'Cr request. And that is one of the ways we verifying that the IST'Cr request actually got sent off, because I would like to create a better flow for you to just keep doing the IST'Cr if you would like to divide it between a lot of different IST'Cr. Yeah. And that is how you send off your IST'Cr request. So we'll hop in and we'll go to IST'Cr Drainisha's profile, and we'll show you how to approve or reject that request. Yes, as you see, we have switched over to IST'Cr Drainisha's profile, so we can hop into the IST'Cr here, this button here, and we can go down into here and we can press the IST, and we can see that we have some requests here that we need to approve or reject. Yeah, so we can click on one of those and we can see that we have our approve, reject cap raises, and it'll tell us what is going on for the particular IST, right? That it has 8 Benji open tokens, and it's going for STP 86 cents. Yeah, and it tells us the cap raise cutoff date, so we can decide, because maybe the cutoff date is too close for us to raise capital. Yeah, and we have terms for this particular cap raise here. Yeah, because this is going back to the IST, right? And then we come down here to terms, and we see our terms: tokens allocated to IST'Cr 50 tokens, total capital to raise 4320. We're going to be getting 5%, right? And our IST'Cr exposure will be 4320, right? So we'll be raising $2.16, and we will have the responsibility of working with the IST owner to make sure 4320 gets returned back to the market. Yeah, this 4320 goes on your capital, your reputation. Yeah, and that's what's different from the olden days and the new days. When you raise capital, it was on the company, but we're like, hey, it's on the company and it's also on the person who was raising that capital. Yep. And then we have an IST'Cr reward MVI. Yeah. And this is how much the IST'Cr will be taking off of their exposure for each payment that is made to the IST holders. Yeah. So that's what this number is here. All right. Every payment, I'm ticking off 50 cents, buddy. Because that is the percentage of what I'm in for if I decide to do this capital raise, right? And it shows me this is the eCash wallet that I have locked this IST'Cr to, making sure that it pulled the correct IST'Cr wallet. And of course, change it if you have to, right? Or you just reject the cap raise. Yeah, we're just rejecting the cap raise if the eCash is looking weird, right? So we can decide if we like this particular cap raise, or we can come over here and we can see that they gave us this cap raise here, right? But it's at 10%. So I'm going to get $44.32 yielding. Yeah. And my MVI is still the same. But my exposure is up to 54. Yeah. And so this is one of the checks and balances on the IST'Cr, right? Am I going to raise capital for something that makes me feel queasy? Yeah. Because if the business kind of makes me feel queasy, I just refuse to raise capital for them, right? Because I'm going to need the capital coming back to the market. My reputation is on the line. I am an IST'Cr, right? So that determines, am I going to approve this cap raise or am I going to reject it? Me, I'm going to go ahead and approve this cap raise. Yes, also when you come down into the approve, reject cap raise, you can come here to this button and you can press that button there. So you can actually go and get the information on the IST. So you can go to the IST biz page like this, right? And you can see the various info on it, and you can come up here to this particular part and you can see its TWT, right? So you can really see if it's making much sense, right? You got a 9-year ITD. That might be too long for you to cap raise for them, right? They got an MVI of $10 a month for 9 years, right? They raise less than $1,000. I'm liking this IST the more I look at it. Excuse me, yes, this TWT and transaction fee, and they're gonna push 1080. Yeah. Then we can get out of that. And it says, yes, we let people build orgs, build rep. That seems like some laziness. I just wrote in one day. Excellent. I like it. I can trust that lazy bastard. Bless. Bless. Be real. We're just joking, yeah. And so if we like what we see, we can close on out of there, yeah. And we can get back to determining if we're going to raise capital for them or reject them, yeah. So we can see what the next steps are. And of course, it has to do the database stuff in the back. So we wait for that to do its thing. and we can go back in and we can look at this one, say this 5%. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and reject that one, right? And we'll see what happens on the IST owner's side of it, right? So we come into the request here because we're like, okay, on to the next step, right? And we have to wait for the owner to actually send us the tokens. So we're here and we're waiting for the owner to send us the tokens, and this will end up changing in that fact. Yeah. So what is going on with these ones that I have already done? Yeah, they're ready to get traded. Yeah, so you can see, you can go to the money sign here as the IST'Cr. Yeah, and it pops you into this one, and you can come on down here to the one that did get cleared, right? That's already done. We can see we have the QR code for any other user of ISTRep.cash to scan this QR code and be able to go through the buying process of this particular token from this particular IST'Cr. Yeah. And we can see that you can have your entire Rolodex of cleared tradable ISTs will be in here, and you can just walk about the world sharing with people the businesses you're raising capital for and get them to buy some, or at least educate them. Yeah, because we are aware there's zero pressure. If you like it, you can get in. If you dislike it, maybe I have something you dislike. If you dislike everything, have a blessed day. Yeah, zero pressure. So yeah, that's on the IST'Cr side of it. And they're like, okay, show us that payment side of it. Well, all right. Yeah, let's go in and see a payment side of it. All right, so you got somebody in front of you and they're like, ooh, I gotta have me some of this coin here, yeah? And you're like, all right, scan that QR code right there and it'll take you over to the screen that lets you see some better things, yeah? So they scan this QR code and then they'll come to this page here, right, where it'll actually show them the IST name, and it'll show them the par ride for the IST, the STP, how much is getting done paid per month to the entire token, yeah, and the instrument time duration, ITD, right? So they can get that, and they can see, after you haven't talked to them and showed them more info into the IST, they can come here to this page and they can put their number of tokens in. Yeah. And they can, once they put their number of tokens in, we will create up a transaction flow for them. Yeah. So inside of this transaction flow, you will be getting paid. The IST creator maintainer will be getting paid, and ISTRep.cash will be getting paid, right? So we'll have them copy that for their cash tab for their many to one payment. Yes. And then we'll let them come back in, and that'll automatically be locked to the IST'Cr when they scan the QR code, and they'll be putting in the TX ID of the actual transaction, and they will be pasting in their wallet address for future use. Yeah. And then they can send that on off to the yields, and everybody will have been gotten paid by then. That is how it goes. That's how it goes. And then the other processes start kicking in to making sure that the reputation's good. But yes, that is what happens when you are actually selling. It's just that fast. When you out here in the world, your sales, you get paid for those sales immediately. Yes, excuse me. Alrighty, so we'll hop back over into the other profile and do the sending of the tokens by the actual maintainer of the IST. So yes, we are back into the IST maintainer creators page, and we are going to do the request for sending the IST'Cr the actual token, because we kind of need that track. We need to track that we actually sent them the tokens. So we have our IST'Cr down here, and you can see that we had one that got rejected. Oh, bless it. That's all right, right? Because we have a couple that have gotten approved, and so we'll come down to one of these approved ones so we can send them on over the tokens. Yeah, and then we have a approved cap raise request right here, and that once again gives us this, and it tells us that our IST'Cr payment is late, and so we will be getting minus 30 rep dot cash charges deducted from our profile. And yeah, that's what happens if you end up doing this too late. If you try to end up doing the IST'Cr request, you're gonna incur that fee. Yeah. And then we have this one here, which is ready for the first process is here. This one. Yeah. And we see that we have the actual send payment, and we can press this button here to start it, and it tells us we got this IST'Cr wallet address. That's where we're supposed to send the tokens. We can copy that to do inside of our cash tab, and when we get in there for the cash tab, we need to send off that 50 tokens. Yeah, at this point you should be really familiar with cash tab to send off this particular transaction. Yeah. And it says you need to pay from this address. This is a demo one. So the address that you set up for your IST, you need to send it from that particular wallet, right? Which would be locked in like that anyway. Yeah. And we're actually doing the video. When they click here, they're going to come to this video. Yeah. So we got the TX ID here. They'll paste in a TX ID. Yeah. And you can go ahead and press that next button. All right. Yes. You see when you press the next button after you put your TX ID in, it tells you have your token sending budget, because when the IST'Cr sends the token, the IST'Cr is going to incur a transaction fee. IST creator, you pay for that. Yeah. So we have the total number of tokens to the IST'Cr, and we have a 15 ZEC per token sent to cover IST'Cr token sending fee, right? So they'll get a sending fee of 750 ZEC, which is what you'll send them. Yeah. And once again, you do this transaction, you'll put the TX ID down in here, and you'll press that next button to go on to the next step. Yes, you can see we have the finalize and send to ISTs, so that the ISTs can triple verify everything, so that the people can see, okay, they got this data, then that person looked at it, then that person checked it, and then that person checked it. Yeah. And you're like, okay, yep, this is the right TX ID, that's the right TX ID, and then we'll press that button, send to ISTs, and that will send the report back to the IST'Cr, so that the IST'Cr can say, hey, yeah, I received those tokens. So we'll get in and we will see what it's like on the flip side as the IST'Cr, as the IST creator. I'm just waiting for the IST'Cr to say, hey, yeah, got the tokens, and start selling. Alrighty. Alrighty, having we're back as the IST'Cr J Nisha, and we're gonna get back into that IST'Cr profile, and we'll come down here to into requests. Yeah. and we see that it went black because it has become true that she sent some kind of tokens over. She at least sent a request saying that they sent tokens, because sometimes this might be some spam. So always make sure that you double check that by going into your cash tab and looking at your actual transactions to make sure that these are real. Yeah. So we see here, we went and looked in our cash tab. This is a real send. And so we go in and we paste in the token TXID and the budget TXID. If you get these wrong, it is impossible to verify this send. Yeah. So, alrighty, yes, you see we went to our cash tab and we located these particular TXIDs and we put them in here, and they have to match, otherwise it's impossible to verify. And we see we get the little green check mark when it does matches, and we can send it off to yields. Yeah. Yes, this token is ready to trade. And we can see we come back over here and we have a new block of IST'Cr trading that we can do.